I'd like to open the meeting, the January 6, 2021 meeting of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chairperson Gore,
Present.
Vice Chair Thagaves,
Present.
Committee Member McCauley,
Present.
Committee Member Anderson. It looks like she's absent at the moment. Committee Member Chang,
Here.
Committee Member Woodrich,
Present.
and Committee Member Bowen. It looks like he is absent at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. The next order is to review the agenda. Did everyone get a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any questions, or can we move forward with it as is?
You move forward as is. I have no questions.
Oh, great. Okay, and then do we have any public present for comments?
No, we do not have any members of the public present for a comment.
Okay, hearing none. Then the next order of business is the approval of the December 2nd meeting minutes. And may I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
May I have are there any amendments that anyone would like to propose? Hearing none, may I have a second?
Second.
Did Frank second?
Yes, oh yes, I did.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. It sounds like ayes carry, oppose, and abstain. Sorry, I have to say that. Ayes carry. So the most important is the election of the new chair and vice chair. I guess we can say that the positions are vacant. And how will we propose to make this election? Is it in our minutes, or do we just decide if we want to go for chair first or vice chair first?
I think we go with chair first.
Mhm.
And I would like to nominate Natalie Gore as a chair. She's done such a good job this past year.
I appreciate it, I do, but I think it's time. I've been chair for 2 years, and I think it's time to give others opportunity to fill this position and to grow on the board. So although I appreciate it, I'm going to have to decline the nomination. Thank you. With that being said, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, you did a great job. I was like, oh, it's nice.
Thank you. Are there any nominations for the chair?
Well, in that case, I would nominate Amir Tadagos as give him a chance to move up into the chair.
I would second that motion.
And I accept the nomination.
Great. So do we do a roll call vote or just a general?
Why don't we do a roll call vote and just can make sure every committee member is on board with the ascension of Vice Chair Thagaves.
Okay. Chairperson Gore,
Aye.
Committee Member McCauley,
Aye.
Committee Member Chang,
Aye.
and Committee Member Woodrich.
Aye.
And just for clarity, Committee Member Anderson and Bowen are absent.
Okay.
Thank you.
It sounds like the ayes have it. Congratulations, Chairperson Thagaves.
Hey, thank you.
So our next order of business is to elect a vice chair. I'd like to nominate Frank. If you.
Who said that?
I second that nomination.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 We're doing a roll call vote, right? I'm sorry.
Everyone voices, unless someone has an objection, we'll same as a roll call.
Okay. Well, that was easy enough. Frank, congratulations.
Did I get a chance to accept?
I look forward to next year to see what you two help us ascend to in the coming year and what you bring to the table.
And just to be clear, Frank, you accepted, right? You're okay with that?
I feel pressured into accepting. Yes, Chris, thanks.
All right. All right.
That's government at work right there for you.
So having a new chair, I like to yield the gavel, although we don't have one, to Amir.
Virtual. I have a virtual one here. All right,
right.
cool. Awesome. So, hello everybody. I guess with the election now, we can move on to the South Airport Boulevard and Bel Air Road public access improvement projects.
Yes, let me stop sharing my screen and actually yield the floor to Jason Halari from our engineering division. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, new chair, new vice chair, and committee members. Jason Hilary with the engineering department. I'm here to talk about the South Airport Boulevard project. It's related to the Bay Conservation, BCDC is the Bay Conservation Development Committee. So they oversee projects that are near to the Bay Area or tidally influenced bodies of water. And so this project is related to the parking structure at SFO, Park SFO. The last project that I brought to BPAC was the North Access Road Bikeway project, and that was also part of that same BCDC permit. But this is the second phase of that BCDC permit where we're doing improvements along South Airport Boulevard. I did bring these plans to BPAC previously, but BCDC wanted to have a formal letter from BPAC confirming that BPAC also agrees with how the city's approach to the project is. So I wanted to go over, I sent a letter that BCDC had sent us, and also a summary of what we had, were changing to the BPAC permit. So the BCDC permit, sorry, I'm confusing these acronyms so much. So the BCDC permit has a few improvements that they wanted to improve access from the city to the SF Bay Trail. And that's really their goal, is to improve access to the SF Bay Trail, to get to the SF Bay Trail. Here's my summary list, but just giving you an overview, here are the improvements that BCDC originally required the city to install. And these dark red lines are bike lanes, and we've recently installed bike lanes on South Airport Boulevard, and Bel Air already has bike lanes. The other thing are these, pretty much all the intersections, they wanted high visibility crosswalks, and maybe even new crosswalks. So there are a few locations where new crosswalks, the city didn't really think that they would be the safest idea to put them in, or logical locations from our perspective that would still be able to serve getting people to SF Bay Trail, either the one behind Costco or the one down by SFO, between SFO and the water treatment plant. So one of the ones that we wanted to remove, and I'll start just from north to south, is that at South Airport Boulevard and Marco Way, right now there are 2 crosswalks there, and BCDC wants us to install 3. Now, the reason the city doesn't want to install this top one, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but we don't want to install this top one because it's an uncontrolled intersection now, and you'll have drivers, now they're going to have to worry about 2 places where pedestrians cross, and they can be distracted by more things. It's just, it's less safe for a pedestrian to cross when there are 2 uncontrolled crosswalks. I'm pretty sure everywhere else you've seen a mid-block crossing, there's always 1 crossing, and they don't have 2. So we've been trying to voice our opinion to BCDC that it's not a very safe crossing when you have 2 uncontrolled crosswalks right next to each other. Now I'm going to show you what the plan looks like. So currently there's a crosswalk on Marco Way, and currently they just put in a high visibility crosswalk about last year on the South Airport Boulevard one. But what we're going to do since we're not putting that crosswalk on the north anymore, we're going to put high visibility, the RRFP, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and they're going to be on either side. So right now it's just a crosswalk with the regular crosswalk signage, but this one will be the flashing beacons now. So that's the give and take with BCDC. They like, if we're going to get rid of the north crosswalk, we always have to give something back to them. So the removal of the north crosswalk here is our justification of, you know, we're giving back while also keeping this intersection pretty safe. So that's the first part. The second one is we're going down to Bel Air, where BCDC, this intersection here, where BCDC wants 3 legs of crosswalk, so a crosswalk on each approach and a pedestrian island on the south side. So let me just show you an aerial view. So here's the intersection today. There's 2 crosswalks, pretty faded, and they're not high visibility, and there's no crosswalk on the south side. And also there is this left turn, U-turn only lane that has also been a pretty big concern. So what the city is proposing to do is not put in the south leg due to, again, this very similar concept. I know this is a controlled intersection now, but by removing the U-turn lane and by removing the U-turn lane, there's not many cars, but cars can really, a lot of Costco vehicles loading up on the gas station use that U-turn to get to the freeway. So now they're going to be redirected to Bel Air Road, and they're all going to be making left turns. So by removing the U-turn lane here, we've got a lot more cars making a left turn. And if we were to have pedestrians stack here to cross, now we've got left turns that might have to worry about with pedestrians crossing. When we still have the north crosswalk and pedestrians can stack here and still make their way to the SF Bay Trail, because Bel Air Road is just a dead end road that leads its way to SF Bay Trail on either side. The larger pedestrian generators for this area are the hotels to the north. There's really not a lot of pedestrian generation from here, but if there were, a large portion of the pedestrians come from the north side anyway. So this is still within their normal path of travel from our perspective. So what we're removing here from BCDC's request is the south leg crosswalk and the south pedestrian island. And what we're going to give back, if that's the case, is we included the bike boxes on both sides. And this was, as I explained before, this is so bicyclists, if they want to make the left turns, they can get in front of the vehicles. This is going to be setting cars back. It'll stop cars from approaching to the crosswalk, so that leaves a bright green box, what we call a bike box, for bicyclists to maneuver into and stack on the left side, or get ready to make their left turn. And this puts them ahead of vehicles that are making a left turn. So same concept coming out of Costco on Bel Air, where everybody makes that left. They'll have a bike box so the bicyclists can get in front and make their way to the bike lane before vehicles can make their way over to South Airport Boulevard. So that's one of the givebacks. And then the second one is that we're actually extending, you may not be able to see it super clearly, but here's the original curb line. It's hard to see. The original curb line is back here, this dashed line, and we're actually extending the curb out. And it's not a true bulb out, but we are extending the curb out. It's reducing the curb, which makes the turn tighter, which makes vehicles, make sure vehicles slow down and they don't hit this corner as fast as they would be able to. And it also gives basically more pedestrian area for them to take refuge if they're in this corner instead of being back here further away. It shortens the crosswalk, it shortens the crossing timing and everything like that. So the two givebacks that we have are bike boxes to improve bicyclist access, and then and then the extended curb or tightened curb radius to extend pedestrian space, on top of removing the left turn U-turn lane. And that is Bel Air. Let's see. And the next one is Bel Air mid-block crossing. Now this one, it actually, you'll see it here on the aerial because it was there previously. But if you go down, if you've ever been down there and if you go to Street View, it's actually already been removed. And this was because, you know, this is a very high traffic area. A lot of Costco drivers coming in or going to the gas station, and it's very distracting area to have a pedestrian cross. And then you also, as I previously said, you don't want two mid-block crossings because drivers are just going to be too distracted with all the signage and all the striping. You want to focus people where drivers can be focused on one place of concern. So this actually has already been removed. And so the city is saying, you know, it was justified as being removed. You know, the other crosswalk was improved with high visibility striping. And it has crosswalk signage. So we were just asking BCDC, can we just remove this crosswalk, and we'll keep it as a single one. Let me see if I can show that here. Oh no, it's not on this page. And then the final one is North Access Road and a North Access Road at South Airport crosswalk on the North Fork. So let me bring you down here. That's actually this intersection here, the North Fork of North Access Road reaching South Airport Boulevard. So what BCDC wanted was a crosswalk. It only had shown one, but they wanted one crosswalk going across here to get to the other side of South Airport Boulevard. The difficulty here is that when they reconstructed, and this aerial doesn't show it, but when they reconstructed South Airport Boulevard Bridge, there's a 2-lane left turn lane here that actually stacks up. Oh, we can see it on Street View. There's a 2-lane left turn lane here that has stacked up past the intersection. So here's the intersection, and here's the 2-lane left turn stacking area. You can't have a crosswalk going through a left turn only stacking lane. So there's nowhere for us to put a crosswalk here. So by removing that from the BCDC requirement, what we are going to give back is what was suggested, I believe, by Vice Chair on the last meeting, is the high visibility crosswalk on the South Fork of North Access Road. So if I bring you over here, this is the South Fork and it's the North crosswalk. This was suggested previously to be a high visibility crosswalk to improve the crossing because you have bicyclists coming south, or if you wanted to have a pedestrian get across. They were going to use this crosswalk anyway, but we're going to improve it to a high visibility crosswalk. I've already submitted the Caltrans permit for this because this is a Caltrans controlled intersection, and I already have Caltrans approval for that. So that's going to be part of our project. But basically, there's the give and take. We're going to get rid of this requirement for a crosswalk here, pretty much because it's infeasible. And then we were going to improve the crosswalk down here at the North Access Road South Fork. And I believe that's all of the changes that we were doing from the original BCDC permit to the proposed plans we have now. Does anyone have a question, or were you able to review this letter from BCDC?
I have a concern about the bike box.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Oh, you can hear me, good. So I'm familiar with them back in Ireland, and when you're in a bike box, you can't park in it or you're going to get a nasty ticket, right? Which is fine. So hopefully we'll put some signage up here just at the beginning of the bike boxes, tell cars to stop short of that bike box. So that I imagine it could be quite easy. But on Bel Air Road, coming out of Bel Air Road, but in the bike box there, again, in Ireland or Britain, you can't turn on a red light, but here you can. So if you're in the slow lane and you come up to that bike box and it's red, so presently you could go through that bike box and turn. What do we plan to do in the future? Are we going to make them stop and wait for a green, or are we going to allow them to go through that bike box on a red light?
So for bike boxes here, the bicycle is going to be having to follow the same rules as a vehicle. They cannot cross when it's red. They can only cross with the protected green. So there won't be, yeah, so bicyclists won't be running reds.
Oh, no, I'm not, no, I agree. But a car or a bicycle can come up to a red light and do a permissible right turn, right?
Oh, a permissible right. So yes, are you talking about if a car was
Coming out of Bel Air Road.
You're right there where it says 8 and 9, right? Like making
8 and 9, yeah, correct. Yeah, number 8. So if the bicycle's coming out there, we've got that arrow. I mean, if a car's coming out and he hits that green box, and as the light is red, he can go through. Well, currently he can go through, but we put the green box in, can he go through on a red light?
That's a good question. I believe they still can, as long as they're not blocked by a bicyclist waiting. And again, the bike box is large, but the bicyclist really will be stacking on the left side, because the only purpose of the bike box is to make the left.
Exactly. So therefore, I was thinking that maybe we don't need it on the full length of the of that right of way. We could just put it on the left turn lane and not on the through lane, but not allow those through cars. I mean, the right turn cars to turn. Just a thought.
Oh, I see. Yeah. The reason you paint the whole thing green is because a cyclist will come from the bike lane, and they still need to make their way over to the left side. So you paint the whole thing green to give this safe space for the bicyclist to make it over to the left. So that's the point of that.
Yeah, just a thought.
Mm-hmm. But we will have signage for the stop before the bike box and everything.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, note number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a new sign to stop here before the bike box.
Yeah, the learning curve is always something.
Yeah, and we also will send out an info letter with the public relations officer to get out some information on bike boxes, because these are, as mentioned before, the first bike boxes in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I had a quick question. I'm wondering why there's not a bump out on the opposite side of Bel Air Road to kind of mirror the bump out that you're doing, which I love. But seems like there's space there perhaps for some more curb.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Extending the radius here.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll look at that. For the opposite side here, there's a lot of large trucks that go to the water treatment plant to go to Costco, and they have to make a certain radius to make it. For the right turn from Bel Air to get to the South Airport Boulevard, they can actually swing. Yeah, the trucks have a large radius, so they can swing all the way to the median from, if you're just using this curve here, they can come from the right lane and actually overextend to the median to make this right turn. But over here on Bel Air's side, there's not a lot of room from the median from the right turn lane. So we can look at it and see if we can tighten it up, or if we see that trucks won't be able to make the turn. But if they can make it while we tighten it up, then we'll look at tightening it up and extending the pedestrian zone here.
On Bel Air, there's no hard median.
No, there's no hard median.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see that there's only one lane.
Oh yeah.
There's only a single lane, so the trucks, their sweep or their turn has to be a lot tighter here than if they were to extend over to the next lane. But on this side, trucks can make the right turn and sweep all the way around. So for the large, big rigs, the right turn from Bel Air to South Airport Boulevard is a lot easier than the right turn from South Airport to Bel Air.
Thank you for explaining that.
But that's a good suggestion. We will look into that. That's a good suggestion.
Are the beacons that you're proposing to use for some of the crosswalk, are those going to be the kind that flash red when someone's in the crosswalk, or is it just going to be?
It'll be push button. They'll be
Okay.
push button similar to the ones that we have in downtown, like on Grand Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions, or does BPAC agree with the city's approach?
I don't see any issues that would hinder it from moving forward on my end. Having driven by there, it seems to fit. Especially, I like what Frank came up, and I'm glad Frank asked that question about the right turn, because that was like the first thing that popped into my mind too. Because I always go to that Costco, so I'm like, oh, how would that work out? But
Chairperson Tagawas, could we take a vote on it just to make it official?
yes,
Sure.
does any?
I'll go ahead and do the roll call for the vote. Chairperson Thagavis,
Yes, can I get a roll call can we do a roll call vote for the letter? It's a letter that we have to send in, right?
yes.
Actually, let me double check this. So Jason, what do you need a BPAC letter of support like we've done for other projects too, or?
Yes,
just-
it would be pretty much a BPAC letter of support.
Okay.
You could also reference the letter that BCDC had sent us,
Sure.
which requested just basically confirmation that BPAC had reviewed our plans and reviewed the changes to the BCDC permit and has no objection. So yeah, tonight I presented the changes that we're proposing to the BCDC permit. And if BPAC votes to agree with it, then I think that would be the sufficient proof.
Okay, so I think let's do that. Chairperson Thagavis, let's take a roll call on BPAC's on these proposals as described tonight, and then we'll come up with a letter of support for this project and get it signed by you, and then send it off to Jason.
Okay, sounds good. So let's take a roll call.
Okay.
All those in favor?
I believe
Let's
Let's
have
go
Jen
one at a
do
time,
the-
just for clarity.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
go.
sorry.
That's all right.
It's my first one, Natalie. I'm gonna have to
I know.
touch base with you. I'm gonna need to.
you're doing a great job.
Okay, let's start with the first committee member Gore,
Present, aye.
Chairperson Thagavis,
Aye.
Vice Chair McCully,
Aye.
Chairperson Chang,
Aye.
and Chairperson Woodrich,
Aye.
and Chairpersons Anderson and Bowen are absent. Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight, and thanks for your support.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Cool. So let's move on to the next item on the agenda. It seems to be, is there any emails from the public?
No, we've not received any emails from the public this week.
Okay, awesome. And then let's move on to committee comments. Any comments from the committee?
I had two comments. First is I recently read a book that I thought many of you might enjoy. It's invisible right now.
I see it right away.
Right of Way by Angie Schmidt. The tagline is Race, Class, and the Silent Epidemic of Pedestrian Deaths in America. And it was published this year. It offers a comprehensive overview of some recent cases and infrastructure needs that are relevant to these issues that we speak about every month. So highly recommend it. It's not too dense. I was able to get through it in about a week and a half. So Don't be afraid if reading's not your thing. Just check it out from the library if you have a chance. And second, I wanted to ask if anyone else has had a chance to ride in the new bike lane on El Camino Real between, what is it, Hickey and, or no, not even Hickey, McClellan and Chestnut, Westboro. I'm not sure it even extends that far actually, but
Is that the hospital? Right by the hospital?
yes,
Crossing by Kaiser.
Mhm.
yes. If anybody else was able to ride that recently and what your thoughts were on it, because I managed to get over there on my cargo bike and it was frightening. The cars on that street, it's 3 lanes and they're all, or 3 lanes on that side, and they're all just definitely going more than 35. The bike lane is not protected, it's simply paint. And there were buses passing us closely. It really didn't feel particularly bike friendly. And I'm hoping that's just one bad experience, but I wonder if there are some improvements that can be made to that bike lane to make it a little bit more safe for the cyclists that are using it. I know El Camino Real is a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, I live right by there. I see that potentially because yeah, cars are not going the speed limit, whatever it is. It's definitely faster than it should. And there's even like a bus stop right by the I forget the intersection, but by the BART and on El Camino.
Oh yeah, right by, like right before Costco. It's like in that
Yeah.
limbo between Costco and the hospital, like the apartment buildings, right?
Yeah. So I'm just more surprised that there hasn't been more accidents, just because there's a large vehicle stopping with fast traffic, bike lanes too. Bike lane, I'd say not all of them is painted green yet, right? There's some parts that are still
No, I don't
unpainted
believe
even.
it's green. It's just a white lane.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they were gonna put in, have you ever driven or even ridden? Because I ride the Guadalupe Parkway trail a lot. So you know how there's that rough line? I was expecting that to be put in there because at the bare minimum it was needed on the street like El Camino, you know what I mean?
And I know that a lot of these structural pieces come at the dictation of plans that say, well, on a street that has a speed limit of 35, you need X, Y, and Z. But I do think that many, if not all of the cars on that stretch of the road are exceeding the speed limit. And, some bollards or maybe some green paint. I mean, paint is not protection. So I shudder to even suggest that, but it seems like it's not enough in the current iteration.
Megan, was your issue, were you riding south or north on El Camino?
I was riding south that day.
Towards south, okay.
Right.
Yeah, this is interesting because this project was just recent, right? Because I remember the construction was going on last year, so I'm surprised there was a more thought to like incorporate the bike lane into the part of the pedestrian walkway, because the walkway seems to have been expanded.
Right, the walkway's expanded. There's now these beautiful boxes for the trees, and then the bike lane is right there next to all the cars. So, I don't think I'll be taking that way again. That's what I mean to say, unless we can make some changes.
Is that something that we can, was this part of the Grand Boulevard project?
Yes, I believe it was part of the Grand Boulevard initiative, and so that should be, and given that a lot of that was in construction fairly recently, I'm not going to be surprised if there are still elements of this that have not been implemented. So it's worth, staff can check in and see what else they might have planned. So just kind of wanted to preface it because El Camino Real is technically Caltrans jurisdiction, so it takes a lot to get a lot more improvements on there. So I don't, but I have full faith in our planning and our engineering team to have, suggested to put at least a protected bike lanes on here for us, because that's where we are trending as a city anyways. So we'll take a look at see what they might have planned for this and see if there are any more improvements coming.
Because I thought the Grand Boulevard projects allowed each city to kind of develop their own plans. So we may have more leeway
Right.
if it's part of that project than if it's some Caltrain.
Right, exactly. If it's some one-off Caltrans kind of like pedestrian improvement project, but I doubt that it is. So like, staff can look into it and follow up with BPAC.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Do we have any more committee comments? I did have one. I just wanted to bring up again, Spruce and Canal Street, how it's like very, very narrow for bicyclists and pedestrians. And on top of that, it doesn't seem to be very ADA friendly. Because like I said, I've witnessed a couple of people have minor spills, or even just like, it's scary even driving when there's a bicyclist and there's a pedestrian on the little bridge over Spruce and Canal, and then even over by Raymond Sourdough Bread. Like, is there any plans to even redo the sidewalk there, because it's broken, it's not really easy or walkable? So
Yeah, my apologies, Chair Thagavis. We didn't get a chance to follow up with you specifically on that specific intersection. So we'll do that for sure.
awesome.
But yeah, no, we're not aware of any specific improvements. However, if there is something that is completely lacking or broken, we can always bring it up with our public works colleagues and see if there are any kind of repairs they might be able to do. But like to address like existing safety concerns and things like that, it may require obviously like a lot more intervention than what we are thinking of, like, yes, as far as like spot treatment repairs, so we'll follow up with you on that one.
And I hate to bring up Linden again, but I had another issue today. It seems like more and more big trucks that are dropping food off to the restaurants or to are double parking on Linden. And that's causing the cars to have to go over the yellow line, but also it doesn't leave a lot of room for bicycles to pass through. So I think it's a problem that is only going to get worse as we bring more people back downtown. So.
And just to comment on that, a lot we get that kind of comment frequently, especially even on El Camino. A lot of the FedEx trucks do the UPS Amazon van deliveries. It's a matter of usually through enforcement and actually finding adequate space for businesses to have like yellow loading zones and things like that. So it's not something that we can necessarily fix outright immediately. So, but we'll definitely look into some other ways we can kind of alleviate that problem.
Can parking spaces be eliminated? If not permanently, then at least temporarily?
I do believe that would cause problems in the area.
Yeah.
People
that is in itself another issue we have to then contend with, because then we've got a different set of folks like asking us, why are you removing parking here?
It's like a catch-22 here in South City with parking.
Well, Miller has a nice garage.
Oh yeah,
it does. Actually, it was crazy. I use that garage quite frequently, actually, because I'm just like trying to look for parking on Grand. Is like, I'm just gonna have a nice little walk on Miller, or I'm just gonna bike over from my house, because just parking is not fun on Grand.
Yeah.
But the issue I think on Linden is that there's commercial buildings all up and down Linden, from basically airport to Grand, and it seems like business is booming on Linden. I'll put it that way. There's always something happening, someone stopping, something going on. There's a bus, there's pedestrians, there are bicyclists, there are cars, and this street just was not built to handle the amount of traffic that we're currently seeing, I don't think.
Agreed. Totally agree. Cool. Well, is there any other committee comments? No. Okay, so we'll move on to staff comments.
Oh, hang on, Amir, sorry, I was muted there. I'd like
That's
to add
okay.
in one more thing. A couple of months ago, we discussed a new development at the airport and San Mateo Avenue. New housing, I think about 200-300 units going in on either side of San Mateo Avenue on Airport Boulevard. And at that time, they were discussing adding, using the airport walkway under the railroad tracks as a bicycle route also, which I was quite opposed to. But I noticed in the paper that they've had a meeting with the planning and city council, or at least some sort of a study session, where it's progressing through the moves. And I'm just concerned that the access for bicycles and pedestrians issue gets resolved before it gets too far. I wonder, will we be seeing, Chris, would be seeing more about this before it gets too advanced? As I think that presently access to that side of the underpass is difficult at best for pedestrians, let alone bicycles. And that's something that should really be studied by a traffic consulting company or something like that there to come up with a good solution before we end up having to accept something substandard.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair McCauley. So yes, PS Office Park, that's what we call it in-house. So I am working on that project as well. So and don't think that it is something that is being fast-tracked through council just because it's been written up in the paper. It's staff is here to slow that down. So because there's a lot of considerations that need to be made. And again, like echoing BPAC, your concerns on the bike and ped access through the tunnel, it's there. Like realistically, there's not enough width in that tunnel to handle pedestrians and bicyclists. So there's got to be another solution that we have to come up with and work with the developer on. However, so yeah, so where they are in the process is actually where it gets to slow down a bit is because they are also waiting for some, I believe the general plan to kind of progress further before they can even proceed with their project. So it's something that is an ongoing effort, and it will come back to BPAC once they have those, you know, any type like those bike and ped kind of issues more ironed out. So that it's something that we're targeting to come back to BPAC before we go anywhere else in the approval process, or sorry, review process.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since we'll move on to staff comments now. Are there any staff comments?
Nothing but this a new year for BPAC. So thank you all for everything that you've done last year. We'll go into more detail in the next meeting about like things that I wanted to highlight, like some good things that we did and where we would be directing our efforts for the next year for BPAC. We'll do that at the next meeting. But no, just thank you for your patience. I know moving to Zoom or when we had GoToMeeting was tough for everyone, and then to Zoom, and so we've kind of gotten into a groove with things. So just appreciate everyone's effort and hanging in there.
We appreciate you, and I really appreciate everybody's patience with the new Zoom. I remember GoToMeeting was a headache, so I'm glad we're on Zoom now. Woo!
I actually do have a comment. I'm sad to announce that I will no longer be the clerk for BPAC. I've loved being clerk for you all for the last 6 months, but next week I'm excited to start grad school. So I have classes on Wednesday nights. So we will introduce you to the new clerk when we've settled on it, but I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. It's been a pleasure.
Congratulations. What are you going to major in?
So I'm getting a master's degree in urban planning from University of Southern California.
Ooh, go USC.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay,
I'm nervous,
great.
but I'm very excited.
Great. Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Are you moving? So you're moving down to LA? I used to live by there, so.
No, I'm actually very fortunate that it's a fully online program.
Oh, cool.
So I will miss you, but hopefully
We're gonna miss you too.
Yeah, just yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jen, for bearing all of this with me. So appreciate your help throughout this year or last year, and for our other commissions. I did want to take a little moment to introduce like who would be taking over Jen's responsibilities for BPAC. That would be Catherine Missner and Kim Santos. I don't know which one of them will lose the coin flip, but we'll see them next week and moving forward.
You mean win the coin flip?
Yeah, wins the coin flip. There we go. Sorry, I was watching the news all day, so I'm not in a very happy and positive mood.
No, we know. We're
Yeah.
all right there with you. It's like the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, I was trying to make sure this is a distraction from everything else that was happening, but
Really appreciate it. I'm so looking forward to coming to the meeting after all day news.
Same here. I was like, okay, let me distract myself with finding a background for this, okay?
yep, and no other comments.
No, there comes awesome. So with that being said, can I make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Awesome.
Second.
Cool. So then at 6:49, this meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the next meeting in February. So
Thank you
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you. Stay safe.
look up that
Bye.
book.
I am. I already wrote it down. I'm gonna connect. We'll start a book club.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.